Hello everyone. Good day, sir. We are the Group 6 and we will discuss about the Lesson 5, Taxation. After this lesson, we will be able to define what is taxation and its purpose and become aware of our rights and duties towards our state. Before taxation, there are two other inherent powers our government has. The three inherent powers of the government. 1. Power of eminent domain. Eminent domain refers to the power of the government to take private property and convert it into public use, referred to as a taking. The Fifth Amendment provides that the government may only exercise this power if they provide just compensation to property owners. For example, eminent domain has been used to acquire land for building a shopping center, housing development, stadium, or arena. A person must receive a fair price for their property when the government uses eminent domain. This fair price is described in the Fifth Amendment as just compensation. 2. Police power. The inherent power of a government to exercise reasonable control over persons and property within its jurisdiction in the interest of the general security, health, safety, morals, and welfare, except where legally prohibited. Examples of the federal use of the police power are food and drug regulations, environmental preservation laws, and workplace safety laws. And number 3 is the power of taxation, the ability of a government to impose and collect taxes. What is taxation? Taxation is the act of laying a tax, wherein 1. The process of means by which the sovereign, through its lawmaking body, raises income to defray the necessary expenses of the government. Yes, getting a raise affects taxes. The more money you earn, the more taxes you will have to pay, increasing your tax bill. So, diri sa Pinas, naatay ginatawag na tax bracket or the personal income tax rates in the Philippines. Personal income tax ni siya ha. So, in 2023 taxes ni siya, limbaba actually og 5% ang tanang mga taxes during this year. So, if you have an income of 0 to 250,000, 0 imuhang tax rate. Wala jud kay bayran nga tax. So, in the 250,000 to and 1 to 400,000, 15% ang bayran nimo sa tax rate. And then 400,000 and 1 to 800,000, 20%. So it would vary. It will not be generalized nga kung ikaw na income bayad jud ka dapat og 25% dili. So naa siya tax bracket depending upon your income. So dili siya mupataw dayon og income income tax nga kung dili pa nila gina-check kung pila gyud ang imong income annually. Number 2, definition of taxation. It's merely a way of apportioning the cost of government among those who in some measure are privileged to enjoy its benefits and therefore must bear its burden. It is a way of pagbahin-bahin sa cost of the government. The cost of government example is the public hospitals, public schools, mga pampublikong tanggapan. When you see a public hospital, daghan jud kay na siyang mga pasyente. Asa man sila mukuha og mga equipment, mga simpleng syringe lang gani, tag size naman gani sa gawas. But because of our taxes, they are funded. The schools, di ba kita nag-eskwela ta sa libre nga school. Kung makita nato atong IAMS, natay bayron nun dapat nga 14,000. But it is zero nga zero ang total. It's because we are admitted for free. So, because of the taxes of the people and mga pampublikong tanggapan, like the offices of the government, asa man ni sila mobayad mokuha og pambayad pang utilities. Ana. So, mga electric bill, water bill, tanang bills. So, muna na siya ang padulngan sa taxes sa tao. Ibahin-bahinon na siya sa matag law-abiding citizen. It is imposed upon people for the usage and as support for the government. So, ang kaning taxes, gi-impose ni siya sa mga katawhan sa law-abiding citizen nga naay income para magamit sa government and para pod masuportahan ang mga project sa gobyerno nga para rapod sa katawhan. So dili man pod pwede nga out of their own pockets na ilang pag-service sa atoa. So kailangan gihapon nila og funds. The fourth definition of taxation, it enables the government to discharge its appropriate functions, especially its police power, which ensures the safety of the general public. To explain this, if a department is well funded, it will have the right equipment and protection to itself, and it will definitely function properly towards the society. So, nakaingon ko ani, it's because kung ang isa ka pulis or isa ka sundalo, saktog panamit, saktog protection sa iyang sarili, sakto ang iyang equipment, dili outdated, buot pasabot, masakto po ang iyang pag-protect sa katawhan nga iyahang kanang jurisdiction. So kung asa siya nakabutang, maproteksyonan to niyag tarong. Sakto iyahang kanang iyahang mindset, sakto ang iyahang kanang inner nga mental niya, iyahang emotional, iyahang physical. It's because they are well funded. Sakto ilang pagkaon, sakto ilang sanina, sakto ilang equipments, ilang protection sa ilang sarili. But pasabot, they are also protected. So they can also protect us properly. Etymology of tax. The word tax originated from the Latin word taxare, which means to censure, to charge, or to compute. It also means to estimate or to value.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, what are taxes for? So, first, providing funds for infrastructures that will serve the general public. For example, ani is kanang mga public schools, university, or colleges nga para sa atong school na wala ta nagabayad or wala dili unlike sa mga private schools nga nagabayad sila og mga miscellaneous kada tuig or per exam. So kita is free lang ta kay ang mga funds or ang mga supplies nga para sa school is gikan sa taxes o ang mga salaries sa mga teachers sa public schools is ginakuha lang gyapon na siya sa taxes. And second is aid programs for the poor. For example is ang 4Ps, ang mga kwarta nga gihatag o nadawat sa mga 4Ps beneficiaries is gikan na siya or gikuha lang pud na siya sa taxes. And third is disaster response, ang mga equipment, mga hinabang or mga food packs during sa mga unexpected events like sa mga typhoons or bisa unsa nga mga kuan kay diba naman sa mga hinabang, so gikuha lang gyapon na siya sa kwarta sa taxes para mo i-provide or itabang sa mga nanginahanglan. And fourth is military modernization. Dili na part is kanang mga kuan sa mga armas or mga equipment sa mga militaries. Syempre gikan sa kay nasud so nag-avail lang man ta, so mao na ilang ginabayad or gina-funds para makakuan pud ta sa mga armas nga advance ang mga advance nga armas nga bag-ong mga hinimo gikan sa nasud. So that's all.
Philosophical views of taxation. First is utilitarianism. Second is Kantian ethics or deontological ethics. And third is virtue ethics. Good day, everyone. So, in the next part of this topic, we will be going to discuss also the philosophical view of taxation. And if you can see in our module, there are three mentioned, which is the utilitarianism, the Kantian ethics, and the virtue ethics. So, in my part, I will be only discussing the utilitarian view of taxation. So, utilitarianism, it comes from the term utility, which means pleasure or happiness. And in our previous lesson, we already discussed the background or the main concept of utilitarianism, and we all know that Jeremy Bentham was the main proponent of it. And it states here that the primary aim of utilitarianism is to achieve the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. If you can still remember that the moral code of utilitarianism is to seek pleasure and avoid pain, and that we should act always so as to produce the greatest good for the greatest number. Now, is it moral or immoral a taxation in utilitarian perspective? So, in utilitarian, taxation can be seen as moral if it ensures that quality goods and services will be available to the general public. So, of course, I know some of mga employees nga under sa government is mga attitude yun. And I know nga kamo pod na naka-encounter na pod og mga ingon ani siguro. No? And labi na sa mga yano nga tao, mailan nimo nga naiuban nga under sa government nga mga empleyado is murag nakatamay sa mga yano lang. And usahay mas mo cater sila og katong feeling nila pabor or duol sa ilang heart nga murag maka-benefit siguro ato sila nga mga tao. And with that it does not achieving the utilitarian principle because it only promotes unhappiness or displeasure of many people. But in utilitarian view, moral and taxation if it consider happiness to the general public or if it ensure nga ma-produce or ma-distribute yun ang quality goods and services sa katawhan and not only to a select few. Walay favoritism, walay ginapili, walay ginapabor-pabor. They ensure also nga ang mga resources coming from our taxes should be redistributed widely enough for all people to enjoy or to have a decent life. Because again, utilitarianism promotes happiness or satisfaction for everyone's benefit walay pinili, walay gipabor-pabor. So a large amount of people having modest resources generates more happiness compared to the same amount of total resources being concentrated in the hands of only few. A true utilitarian would only care about the total satisfaction and not about the evenness of the distribution. In utilitarian, the objectives of taxation such as providing better or best public services in healthcare and education will result to a greater amount of satisfaction to a large number of people. So, for example, kanang education, we all know how essential ang public education sa atuwa. Dako kay siya benefits para sa mga katawhan. For example, kanang mga teachers, they are able to have a better salaries compared sa katong mga private teachers. And for the kanang mga students, na capable na maka-eskwela without paying any school fees, and for the parents also nga less gasto na pod para sa ilang magpa-eskwela sa ilang mga anak. So aside from that, kaning mga programs aiding the poor as part of the redistribution of taxes by the government will result to a greater number of happiness para sa aning
IP's program, no. Kana siya partly gikan gyapon na siya sa mga taxes, no, sa mga tao na kaning mga business owner, kaning naay mga income, no, kaning mga adunahan. So, since providing resources from the rich to the poor increases the number of happiness of the poor more than it decreases the happiness of the rich. Therefore, kaning mga objectives of taxation, kaning mga purposes, no, sa taxation, no, are achieving the utilitarian principle. Overall, utilitarianism would support taxation as a means of promoting overall happiness or well-being for society as a whole.
First of all, good afternoon everyone. Special to you, sir. I am Annalisa Saldarriaga and I'm going to discuss the Kantian ethics or deontological ethics. Deontological ethics, it highlights the categorical imperatives as absolute moral duties. So when we say categorical imperatives, it's all about oath. That is to say, one ought to do the law without any conditions since it simply. Kumbaga, you are doing or following something because there is a rule or law. You are following command which is regardless of your own desire. As a citizen, it is our moral duty to support the state by paying taxes. So, in the way of paying taxes, we can say na we are supporting the state. So, 'di ba? Kung makita nato nga if ever every individuals nagabayad sila og kanang taxes, makaingon jud ta na they are supporting the state kay tungod they are following the rules and nagabayad man sila. So, if ever we, the citizens, we are doing our part by paying taxes, the state must guarantees us with safety and security. So, we all already know that through paying taxes, that will serve as our contribution to ensure that the state can still continue to carry out their duty in the best way. So, diba, if ever kita nga mga citizen, we are following the rules or law, just like of paying taxes to the state, makasigurado jud ta nga dili lang kay ang government ang makagarantiya kundi kitang tanan. The more nga daghang taxes or dako nga taxes ang makolek, the more nga naay dagkong budget nga magamit ang government pang finance sa ilahang social projects. Kantian ethics also emphasizes respect for every person, particularly supported by the formula of humanity, which is act in such a way that you always treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, always as end and never as mere means. The formula of humanity support the Kantian ethics because in this topic, a person or citizen must just follow the command and not because of what he or she wants. Every human person has a moral obligation to look after one another. So especially in the least fortunate. Everyone should have an obligation nga motabang sa lain, labi na sa mga taong nagkalisod sa kinabuhi. So, in the way of paying taxes faithfully, og sa perming pagbayad og sakto, dako na ni siyang tabang sa tanan. Labi na sa mga taong kailangan jud tabangan. To give the summary of my report, Kantian ethics or deontological ethics is all about undoing action which is accordance with a universal moral principle or rules. It supports taxation policies and it promotes humanity. You are making or following such things because na kay gina-follow nga command, rules or law. What I meant is, you are doing action nga kung asa naagyoy gigikanan. Kung baga, you are following or doing such things, dili lang kay tungod imo-imuha lang. Deontological ethics it is about your moral duty to pay taxes. So, as a citizen, it is your duty to pay taxes. To be able to support the state, and the state would support you the same. So, and that's the end of my report. Now, I'm going to let the next reporter to discuss the next topic.
The last part of philosophical view of taxation is virtue ethics. In virtue ethics, the development of a virtuous character by habitually The word of habit is kanang atong gina-exercise before nato ma-achieve ang atong gusto, like sa talent. Di ba og sige ta og practice mahawd man jud ta? Same po na sila sa virtuetics. Og sige nato og practice ang magagandang gawain or mabubuting gawain until mahabit nato na siya ug ma-apply nato bisag asa. Example, parehas lang sa palengke, ug naatay makit-an na manglisod, magtabang man jud ta, di ba? Dili lang sa di nato motabang, kundi willing ta motabang kay nahabit naman nato ang magagandang gawain. Then pag mugtabang man jud ta, di ba, is maka-feel ta og lami kay sa paminaw, happy ta, kay nakatabang ta, which is habitually is the key to achieve eudaimonia. Eudaimonia means happiness. Happy ta kay nakatabang ta, dili lang sa nato motabang, kundi willing ta motabang. So tungod sa atong habit, na-achieve nato ang atong eudaimonia or which is happiness. So kung atong i-connect ang virtue ethics in taxation is the mere fact na motabang ta, like kanang mobayad sa mga taxes, is isa na siya sa virtue ethics. We have several virtues or value in relation to taxation can be highlighted. The first one is justice. In justice naman, taxation operates taxation operates on of the principle of justice. Understood is the sense of justice as giving what is due. If taxes are consistently relatively moderate, people will be able to take a relatively larger take-home pay. So, kanang take-home pay, mauna siya ang sobra after paying taxes. For example, ako, 350 akong income. Ang 10% ana is 35. Gibayad na ko sa tax. Then, ang 315 ana is ako So, mauna siya ang imong take-home pay, ang 315 na sobra. So, kung justice, naa siya justice kay 10% raman jud ang ginakuha as taxes. Dili man jud siya as inagamay, dili po siya as inadako, dili po siya as nasobra, tama-tama ra jud siya. So, naa siya justice in paying taxes.
Moving on, the second virtuous act that was considered as one of the keys to achieving eudaimonia is charity. Previously, na-discuss na ang virtue ethics nag-focus sa virtues nga dapat nasa atoa. And isa sa mga factors nga nang ma-motivate ang mga tao in doing charity is ang financial incentives. People who have larger take-home pay will more likely be able to afford charitable donations. Kung dili kayo taas ang tax ang ginabayaran sa taxpayer, mas dako ang mahimong take-home pay nila. And of course, kung dako ang take-home pay, mas taas sad ang chance nga willingly mohatag sila or makatabang sila financially sa mga tao nga nanginahanglan through charity. And last is independence. So, it is better to earn money to provide for one's needs rather than to depend to others, such as relying on subsidies provided by the government. So, mas okay kung ikaw mismo ang magtrabaho or maghago to provide your basic needs kaysa maghulat lang ka sa tabang ginahatag sa gobyerno. Unsaon na lang, for example, wala na i-impose nga tax payment ang government. Of course, wala say public hospitals, public schools, and even public roads kay mahimong private tanan. And for sure, kaning mga nasa state universities and state colleges, naasad na tuition fees kung wala na tax payment nga i-impose. So, responsible attitude towards paying taxes is already a step in acquiring and developing various virtues, thereby forming a virtuous character which leads to achieving happiness, as virtue ethics teaches. Moreover, taxpayers pay their taxes nga walay laing ginapakita nga excessive concerns. Pero dili sa tanang taxpayers ingana. So, na two behaviors ang mga wala nagabayad og tax. First is tax evasion and ang ikaduha is tax avoidance. Sa tax evasion, mo na siya ang kanang kontahay ang businessman na 100 million or 100 million ang iyang actual earned income. Pero ang gideclare lang niya is 50 million. So ang tax ato is mas mubo compared sa tax dapat nga iyang bayaranan. So yung ang tax evasion. Sa tax avoidance, mo ni siya tong kontahay ang isa ka tawo kay naidaghang properties or daghan siya company, pero ang i-declare niya, for example, sa 10 companies, 5 ra ang iya kunuhay, and ang uban is dili sa iya nakapangalan. So, malaylay ang income ato. And kung gamay ra ang kita, safe sila sa taxes, kay gamay ra man pod ang tax pag gamay ra ang income. So, medyo lisod maghatag ethical justification for tax evasion. In conclusion, regarding sa tax evasion and tax avoidance. So, sa utilitarianism, okay ra ang tax evasion or tax avoidance kay dili man mawala ang supposed to be nga ihatag sa isa ka taxpayer sa government. So, for example, syempre, para sa to ilang gi-atik ang ilang actual earned income from 100 million to 50 million. So, ang tax unta nga dapat nang babayaran is mubaba pud to. So, ang katong mabilin nga tax nga bayaran unta nila is mapabili lang jud noon to siya sa private person, pero pwede ra sad to nila mahatag directly sa mga nanginahanglan, like dili na through tax, depende na sa ilaha. Sa deontological ethics, dili okay ang tax evasion or tax avoidance kay ang philosophy ani is duty ang pagpasa sa taxes. Like kung dili ta mo muhatag og dili ta mo bayad og taxes, it is considered as morally wrong. While sa virtue ethics, neutral lang siya. Ang point sa virtue ethicists is kung honest pang gani ang taxpayer sa pagbayad, unta honest sad ang nagamanage sa taxes.
In conclusion, taxation happens when the government acquires the right amount of money from its citizens based on their earnings and properties as a payment of public services. So, taxation mahitabo when the government gets the right amount of money from its citizens based sa ilang income and kanang properties as a payment for public services. And taxation should be considered moral because it has favorable benefits for all of the society. And because gibutuhan nato ning tanan nga magkaroon jud ta og tax nga payment para ang gobyerno dili maglisod og support pod sa atoa as society. But then, daghan man pud good ang mga nahitabo na karon nga naanay mga as kanang mentioned earlier, there are already behaviors that happened, tax evasion, tax avoidance, and also o ang sobra nga pagtaxing sa gobyerno sa mga katauhan, especially those who are in the business sectors. So if it's fairly distributed and collected, it will be moral.